This is definitely addicting though. Like I have ideas for other quilts. It's just like, come on, you didn't really enjoy the cutting out process. Don't don't think that you're going to be going through this again very, very soon because we don't have that kind of time around here. Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Love Knits. Today we're going to be doing a knitting podcast episode. While admittedly, I think you have seen everything, more or less, that I've got to show you today, there has been a lot of progress. So I am very excited about that. So I think it is definitely worthwhile to share. So I'm going to be doing that today. So grab whatever you have to knit on and maybe a nice beverage, whatever it might be. I'm personally drinking a decaffeinated coffee. Even though it is ridiculously hot, I am suffering through it because I am just craving coziness. I'm craving fall. I am so tired of summer. I don't think I'm alone in this. I'm sure you guys can definitely relate. I am ready for cozy season, you know, snuggle up under a bunch of knitted blankets and with a knitting project. And some nice cool weather, crisp leaves, sweaters. I'm definitely dreaming of that right now. I don't know. It's definitely not unique to me, but I'm definitely suffering through this heat. And I actually have a fan way off in the distance, which is keeping me really nice and cool. So hopefully that's not like messing with the sound or anything like that. But if it is, just know that it's necessary. Okay, I'm actually going to put this over here because it's not doing me any good. And I will get started showing you guys my finished objects. Honestly, I don't have too many. And again, you've definitely seen this one for sure because I dedicated an entire video on her. This is Isabel the giraffe. Actually, in the last knitting podcast episode, which was, I think, exactly a month ago. So I'm getting better at doing these more frequently. But in the last knitting podcast episode, this was a fresh cast on. I had really just started on her head. That was the first thing that I had done. So I'm actually very impressed now realizing that how quickly she came together because, I mean, she looks great. I love her. Like I said, I have done a complete video on this where I was kind of showing a little bit of the behind the scenes making process and then sharing my thoughts on the project. So if you've already seen that, this might be a little bit of a repeat of information. And if you're interested in it, definitely go check it out. But I will keep it brief. This is my first time doing a stuffed animal. Like I said last time, not really something that I ever envisioned myself doing. I just never pictured myself wanting to knit up a stuffed animal. Of course, life has taken a different turn for me, and definitely I'm in the season of life where stuffed animals are going to become a huge part of my life. So I think this was a natural project to take on. And I have to say, it was so much fun. And the reason that I had such a good time with it, I think, is because it was so different from all of the things that I've knit in the past. Because I'm a garment knitter. I really love knitting for myself. And I love knitting garments, and that's why I got into knitting. That's why I got into sewing. I wanted to make a me-made wardrobe, and also with baby coming, I want to make him a me-made wardrobe. So knitting up lots of garments, that's my thing. But it was really refreshing taking on this project because there were so many different things that were required. It was such a different type of construction. Of course, you're not like knitting in the round for a sweater. Let's say there are just more things to keep your mind busy and keep you interested in the project. So it was a lot of fun doing all the little bits and pieces that made up this giraffe, like the legs. The tail was a lot of fun. These ears, really, really great. Really cool how you can shape something with just a series of knit two together and SSKs, and then also make ones. It's just really cool to see that kind of construction. So that definitely energized me throughout the project and is probably why it was such a quick knit. That being said though, once I got all of the different pieces, really enjoyed the knitting part. That was a lot of fun. But once I had all of the pieces and the knitting portion was over, that's where I had a bit of a hurdle. I didn't sit on it for too long, but it was very overwhelming to see all of those pieces that needed to be sewn together in some way, stuffed up. That was very intimidating, and it was kind of my least favorite part of the project. If you can imagine, I mean, I'm a in-the-round knitter, don't like seaming very much. I will do it, but this is probably the project that I've had to date with the most assembly, like seaming wise, so that was kind of hard. But we got through it, and in the end, it really wasn't that big of a deal, and since all the pieces were really small, it didn't really take that much time, so it's more of a mind game than anything. But, you know, she is a little wonky. She has, you know, crooked ears, crooked arms. Oh my gosh, actually, my husband, he was so funny. He was watching the video, which is very sweet, of the final product, and he just could not stop laughing because he realized then that her arms are crooked. So this one's sewn higher than the other one. But that like adds to her character. So she's got a lot of things that are just a little off, and that's okay. But that I'm okay with. I'm very proud of, and I don't mind that. And I actually think that that adds to her uniqueness. The thing that I'm not so happy with the result is my tension at the back. So I mentioned this in the video where I don't know what it was. The whole project, I had great tension. I don't have any issues for this anywhere else. But what I think happened is that I kind of got a little conservative and like a little, like how would I say this? I don't know. I was overcompensating because for some reason I was worried that I was pulling too tightly with my floats, because throughout this project I did intarsia, except for the body, because that would be way too many balls just flying about. And I wanted the project to be a little bit more mobile than just being like stuck on my couch and only being able to work on it there. And also, it would have been a hassle. So I was trying to save myself some trouble and do floats instead. But I'm not really great with color work. It's still very new to me. So I overcompensated with my floats. I made them a little too loose, and only really in the back area, because if I look at the front, it doesn't look so bad. You know? She's so cute. Like, if you look at the front, this looks great. But then you look at the back and it's like, yuck. So, you know, but I mean, that's something that I can hide. It's just, that's why she doesn't really look nice and plump. Because one of the comments that I saw on the last video was that I didn't stuff her enough. And this is exactly why, because you can already see the stuffing right there. It's not like there was any lining. I guess I could have put lining in the back, but I didn't. So I was very stingy on the stuffing for her belly. But you know, she's long because she's a giraffe. It works out. I'm not really upset. But what I can say is that with this project, I learned a lot of things that I can definitely translate into my next stuffed animal project, which there will be another stuffed animal project for sure. I enjoyed this one so much that I'll definitely be taking on another one. So I will improve. And the next one will be even better. And she will be super, super special. This giraffe right here will remain super special because she was the first one. She's the original. So she will not be neglected. But yeah, can't say enough good things about this project. I do want to actually show the book again. So in case you don't know, this is where I got the pattern. So it's the Knitted Wild Animal Friends book by Louise Crowther. So many awesome patterns in this book, so many cool animals, so many cool like clothing items for them. You can really have a lot of fun and kind of get lost in this book. So I would definitely recommend it. And she has other books as well, and they're tempting. Let me tell you, they are tempting. The Knitted Animal Friends, I have one pattern. I think it's the ram that I would really love to do. But I think I'm gonna knit up a couple of these before I invest in another one of the books, because there are just, I think in my opinion, I like the wild animals, like the look of the wild animals a lot better than the knitted, like farm animals, I think is what it is. So I really think that this book is worth investing in. And actually, a lot of you guys told me that you had the book and were knitting up animals too. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, so that is Isabel the giraffe. Right, so the next finished object that I have is not finished. The knitting portion's done, so that's something, right? And it was a whip from last time, which is great that I got it off the needles. It's the Sunday Suit by Petite Knit, of course. And look how cute it is. It's really, really sweet. I really love this dusty ice blue color. And yeah, it's a jumpsuit, and it's part of like her Sunday line where she has that very famous sunburst motif along the yoke, where you make increases in a circular yoke, and then you continue on with the sleeves and the body, and then you do the little legs. So why is it not a full finished object? Well, of course, I wanted to be different, and I wanted to add my own little twist to this project and not knit the button band, and instead try and do an invisible zipper into this onesie. So originally, the pattern calls for you to knit a button band as you go in the yoke. So that's like 7 stitches or something like that of knit purl, something. Or it's a series of knit purls at the very edges of both sides, and then you do the yoke as I did. You just have those extra stitches. So that will create a button placket that you will also do buttonholes with as you keep going, and then sew buttons on, obviously, and then, you know, it's all done. Yeah, no, I didn't do that because I wanted to be different. And I had this idea because I had been getting advice about zippers, you know, reading the forums, reading some comments. Zippers save some moms' lives in the middle of the night. So I was thinking, hey, that would be kind of fun. While I have some store-bought zip-up onesies, let me try and do that in a knitting project and see if I can make it work. Now, that should be something that you really plan for. You should really have a game plan going in, and I, to be honest, kind of winged it. At first, I was like, okay, well, the calculation that I did was instead of doing those knits and purls, like the rib at the edge, I just did some knit stitches. I didn't do as many as the button placket normally calls for, but I did enough that I thought would be able to cover up the zipper if I inserted it. Now, that's fantastic. I think that would have worked out really, really well. But where I went wrong is that I didn't do any other planning for the bottom half. So I joined the stitches as the pattern said, where you can see right here, it overlaps in the crotch. And I don't think I should have done that because now you can see it really curls right there. And I got a zipper and everything. I really did think that this was going to work. But now I just don't see how it will because there's always going to be that weird overlap at the crotch. So there's really no like good way for me to show this to you like this. But let's say I inserted the zipper right here. When we get down eventually to the crotch, I can't really secure the zipper flat because there's that curling at the edge. You know what? I'm going to insert some B-roll. Maybe we'll give you a better idea instead of me holding up this floppy work in progress. So I'm disappointed in this because I got this zipper and I was thinking that it was going to work out so nicely. And then when I got to that point where I was splitting for the legs, I just really didn't think it through. And that's a shame. So what am I going to do? I have no idea. Well, I have one idea. I'm thinking I'm just going to do snaps. So snaps are a lot smaller than buttons, and obviously you don't need the buttonholes. So since I didn't add any buttonholes in, I'll be easily able to just sew a couple of snap buttons on each side and be able to do that. And then if it's still not enough, I could do like an I-cord, I think. That could look kind of nice, like adding an I-cord along the edge of both sides, or one side, the side that's going to be on top. That could be a nice way to kind of make it look nicer, to really polish it, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm kind of stuck on this project, and it's been just shunned to a corner because I was just so disappointed because I started off so well and then I just let it go, you know, like I've dropped the ball. I could have really done a good hack, but alas, it just didn't work out that way. So I'll try the snaps, I think. But I did just want to share that I did have the plan for the zipper. I bought the zipper and everything. I even bought some really cute ribbon, like a nice velvety ribbon that matched this to kind of put behind the zipper. Yeah, that's a shame. But, you know, if you guys think that it's still possibly salvageable in some way, if I would be able to do this, definitely let me know. I'm also just concerned at how much this is curling because I actually blocked this twice. And in the videos that I saw about, you know, inserting a zipper into knitwear, they really were like emphasizing you need to make sure that this is blocked so well that it's lying flat and it doesn't matter what I do. It's curling. So, oh well, that was a fail. I did say that if this wasn't going to work out, I wasn't going to mention it ever again, but I felt like I should. And yeah, I should follow up on that. So finished object, kinda, still needs the bits and bobs that will make it a functional piece, but the knitting portion is done. Right. I should say that I enjoyed this knit a lot. I think I really was just kind of lost in it. And maybe that's also why I didn't really think about what I was doing. I had the game plan at the very beginning, and then I was getting so excited to finish the project that when I got to the legs, I was like, yes, the end is in sight. And I just kept going and didn't really think twice about it, which, yeah, that's a mistake on my part. But that's a testament to how enjoyable of a knit it really is. And I used Rowan Yarn's Baby Soft Cashmere. Cashmere. And I really enjoyed the fabric of this piece. I think it turned out really nice. The color's really nice. Fabric's really great. I think when we settle on a solution, Baby's going to love it and get a lot of use out of it. That's so good. Right. So let's move on to the works in progress now, because those were all my finished objects. But I do have a lot on my needles. So the first one that I'm going to share is the Friday sweater. I was knitting this one up in my last knit and chat video. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely go check it out and knit with me while I work on this thing. So at that video, I was working on the body, and now I've got one sleeve going. Really, really cute. I'm so obsessed with this jumper. I'm so happy with how it's looking. I think it's so precious, and it's going to be perfect for the winter months. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Baby looks in this, because I think it's going to be so flattering. I really love these autumnal colors together. And you'll recognize all of these colors because they have been used before in other whips, other FOs that I've made for Baby, like the seaside sweater and the bonnet that I made and the Monday suit that I made. The yarn from those projects are here in this sweater. So that makes it very cohesive to what has already been knit up. So he has a wardrobe that really is matching, and I'm really excited about that. There's like a color scheme for sure. But really, this has just been so fun. It's almost been a monogamous knit for me, but I do have some other whips, but this one has definitely gotten the most attention because it's just so much fun. When I was planning my baby knits earlier this year, like a couple of months ago. I was thinking, okay, what kind of sweaters do I want to have? What kind of projects do I want to knit up? And this one in particular, I had in mind for a scrappy project. So I really enjoy the Friday sweater babies that I've seen that have a lot of color in it. The sample is knit with just 2 colors. So one is the main color, and then there's just only one contrasting color for all of these stripes. And I've seen on Instagram lots of other samples, other people knitting up ones with so much color, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I thought it would be really cool to do it with the scraps that I would have from all of the other makes that I made throughout my baby knitting marathon. But to my surprise, I already had a lot of scraps already. And, I didn't want to wait until the very end to knit this one up. I was kind of just scrolling through my patterns and figuring out, like, what am I in the mood to cast on? This one popped up, and I was like, yeah, I'm in the mood to cast that one on for sure. I was ready for some broken rib. And I just went ahead and did it. So it didn't have to be my last project because I did already have a lot of knitting for olive scraps. And the one skein that I had like just one random skein that I really liked the color, but the store that I had purchased it from only had one available. So I was thinking, hey, that would be a good base. And we use that and use the rest of the scraps for all of the stripes. And that's what the main color is. It's marzipan from Knitting for Olive Merino. Then we have the brown nougat. We have icy blue, light blue. And then we have light gray. And actually the light gray kind of looks green, doesn't it? The way that the colors kind of like work together, it almost faintly looks green, in my opinion, which is really cool because I didn't actually get any green for baby's wardrobe. And not like a true light green. So I really like that. And I think it looks really good. And the broken rib on a baby knit is really, really fun to knit for an adult. Don't know how much fun I would have with that, but I am tempted to knit up the Friday sweater, the Friday tee for myself. I do have that pattern, and I have yarn actually that I have set aside for it. It's just, is that a commitment I want to make right now? That's really what it is. But I think it would be really cute if we could match. So one sleeve left. And I have to say, I don't have it with me right here, but I am on the verge of the end of my marzipan. So the main colorway, the one that I only had one skein for. And I'm really worried that I'm going to run out of yarn, and it's to the point where I know that either it's going to work out perfectly or I'm only going to get halfway through the sleeve and I'm going to have to buy another skein. So I went ahead and bought another skein just to be on the safe side. I was upset about that, but that's all the more reason for me to use up more scraps and knit myself maybe a camisole, because I was actually thinking I will have more left over from the stripes, and I could use it for another baby knit, but I'm getting kind of ready to transition to more selfish knits again. So the first thing that kind of came to mind was, I should definitely knit like some kind of tank top, like a striped tank top. I think that would look really cute. So that's kind of what I'm dreaming with the rest of these scraps once I finish this project. And I know that this is just going to fly, because it's such a tiny little circumference of sleeve. Look how cute this is. This really reminds me of like those thermal sweaters, like thermal waffle stitch sweaters. I think it looks so cute. I would definitely knit this again in a heartbeat in a larger size. But anything past, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year kind of thing, I'm going to be knitting those while he's here. And, this one I think was the 4-month size. And I did that because I wanted him to be a little bit older. I didn't want it to be too big of a knit. And I wanted him to be a little bit older so that I would be more comfortable sliding this over his head, because There's no buttons or anything. It's really just top-down raglan knit, where you just pull it over their head. And that's not normally what you see for babies, like newborns. But I'm thinking maybe 4 months I'll be comfortable to pull this over his head. I don't know. We'll see. So the next work in progress is actually something that I asked for your input on in the last knitting podcast episode. And it was another seaside sweater, because I enjoyed the seaside sweater so much. I enjoyed the knit. I enjoyed the result of it. I thought it was the perfect sweater, I think, for a little baby. Really, really cute. So I had some superwash yarn that I found in my stash that I had I had intended for another project. This is from Along Avec Anna. This is her superwash merino like fingering weight. And these two colors, this one is Celadon and this one is Louvre. And I think they pair very nicely together. I really like this one because it's blue, but it has like a greeny tone to it. And then this is gray, but it is so light gray that it's almost like white. So I really enjoy these two together. And I wanted to knit up another seaside sweater with it. So I asked you guys, and overwhelmingly, we all seem to agree that the green should be the main colorway. And so here we are. This is where we're at with our next seaside sweater. It just looks so cute. I really love it. It's so sweet. Just like the other one. I mean, I just really love knitting stripes right now. I'm just enamored with stripes. They're just so easy to do and they have a lot of impact, I feel like. And I'm just really happy with the result. And again, this has just been as enjoyable as the last time. Definitely a nice break from the Friday sweater, because the Friday sweater is a little bit more involved finger-wise. You can get a little bit tired when you're working in broken rib, and this is just plain stockinette. And I think this was a good call. The darker color with the light stripes, perfect call. And I think it's looking really, really good. I'm almost done for the body, and I will be casting off very soon once I switch over to rib. And then I can work on the sleeves and we're done. We got another sweater going. Baby knits are just so fast. I absolutely love it. Yeah, but since this is something that I've already knit up before and shared with you guys, I really don't have anything more to say than I did last time. It still is very much an enjoyable knit because of the stockinette stitch. It's a good palette cleanser, I think, for some of the other more complex projects. Definitely helped me after the Sunday suit when I got frustrated with that. That was the first thing that I cast on to just kind of get over it. And then taking breaks from my Friday sweater. I will say this time I'm learning from the last time, and I did a little bit better with my floats and, you know, my color work with the stripes carrying over my my contrast color from one bar to the next. Definitely did a better job this time around than the last time. It's a little bit of a mess on the side with that other project, and now I'm getting the hang of it, which I'm very proud of. But yeah, I'm thinking for this one, buttons that are a little bit darker would be really nice, like a darker brown tortoiseshell. Very excited to go shopping for buttons for this one. And yeah, nothing more to say than I just really enjoy it. Since this is superwash yarn, I'm curious, for you guys who use a lot of superwash, definitely let me know. Do you block your knits in the sink, or do you do it in the washing machine? Because when I shared with you guys the Ingrid sweater, a lot of tips were to put it in the washing machine because superwash yarn is meant for the washing machine, and that might shrink it. I haven't tried it yet, but I intend to. And I'm just wondering if I should just throw this in the washing machine immediately instead of blocking in the sink like I normally would. So definitely let me know about that, and tell me what you would do when this project is all finished using superwash merino. So last weekend, we went to go see a movie. What movie was it? It was Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. Not not a very good movie, I have to say. It was good enough, like popcorn movie. It was worth like sitting down and watching it, I guess. But would I recommend watching it again? No. Would I recommend you go see it? Yeah, sure, I guess. It was funny in some parts. But anyway, I went to the movies, so I needed a new cast on that was a little bit mindless. And of course, socks would be the way to go for that. So I cast on a pair of socks. I'm very surprised at myself because we know how I am with socks. But anyway, I shared this last time. This was an acquisition. This is some yarn that I had been very much anticipating from the US. My mom brought me some skeins that I had ordered to her house of this mid-century yarn from Patton's Yarn. This I found from a free pattern from Yarnspirations. It was the slip knit socks. And what really attracted me was this self-striping yarn right here because of the colors, the muted, beautiful colorway. I just loved it so much. And I had also seen another podcaster, The Love Stitch. She knit that pattern with this colorway, and seeing the result, really, really loved it. So of course I had to have some. And I've been really into self-striping yarn because the last successful pair of socks that I made was knit with self-striping yarn. So I thought that would be my recipe for success with sock knitting, because for me, I cast them on, I maybe get through one, maybe halfway through one, and then I kind of abandon it and don't really even know where the socks are. Like, where's my whips? I don't know. So wanted to give it another try, and I'm doing okay. So look at this. This is pretty good. So I cast on before the movie. The night before we were going to go to the movie, I cast on the cuff and did a little bit of the leg. And then I finished the entire leg. I knit this entire leg during the movie, which is crazy for me. Like, I think that's actually the most of a sock that I've knit. And I've done that a couple of times with those other self-striping socks. I did do the foot, and I don't know if I even got that far because they were shorty socks. So I did the foot right after the heel. I don't know if I even got that far before with this. So this is a lot for me, I think, to just be knitting for a movie that's like, what, 2 hours? So I was impressed with that. And then I just recently did the heel because, you know, I need to have some mindless knitting again. Whenever I do, I'm going to be prepared with just having to knit the foot now. But look at how pretty this self-striping yarn is. I just really love how it's working up. It's really cool. I love these colors, and the stripes are so even. It never ceases to amaze me how, I don't know, how perfect it kind of looks when it's self-striping like that. So really happy with the way that these are looking so far. I decided that I wanted them to be a little bit longer because I do have 2 skeins of this yarn, and I don't know if I'm gonna want to knit up 2 separate pairs of shorty socks. Might as well just knit some that are a little bit longer. So really use up those skeins that I got. So I'm doing a German short row heel. Just following the Everyday Sock pattern by Petite Knit, which is the sock pattern that I've used for almost all of the socks that I've ever made myself, which aren't many. But I just like that pattern. I like the shape of it. It's pretty straightforward and easy to do. And I'm finally getting the hang of the German short row heel. I feel like each time that I do it, I get a little bit better, which is great. Less holes and less snags, because sometimes with my German short rows, I feel like I snag a little bit and the stitches just look a little wonky in that area, but this actually looks pretty good, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a sock. Not really a lot to say about it, except I tried to do a contrasting cuff up here. And I used some leftover Arvetta sock yarn in this nice cream colorway, and I was thinking I was also going to be using it for the heel, but the yarn is a lot thinner than this yarn right here, so the weight is a little bit off, and you can kind of tell, I think, that it doesn't look so good together. So I'm actually going to rip this out. I'm going to rip this out and just knit a cuff with this yarn as well, and a much thicker cuff too. I think that would suit it a lot better because this is a little too thin. I mean, this is following the pattern, but with this yarn, the thickness of this yarn, I just think it would really be suited for like a nice long cuff instead. So I'm going to do that. And I'm just not even going to bother with a contrast color for any of it, because I was going to do the heel in a contrast color and a toe in a contrast color, and I just think that I should just do it all the way around. It doesn't really matter. Just use up all this yarn. It doesn't look too weird. The only thing that I'm a little upset about is this, because I had to knit across the round, and if it would have come together where it was three rows of a different color than this yellow, I think it would have looked normal and it wouldn't bother me so much. But yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get lucky with the roulette of the self-striping yarn. So next time maybe I'll care about it and like snip the yarn, but then, whatever, it's just a sock. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it can just be freestyle. It can have that more artsy freestyle careless look. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the sock. It's not really like a priority for me. This is just something to have on the go. So I don't even know if I'm going to set like a deadline for myself. Am I going to have it done by next podcast? I don't know. It's just going to be there for me in case I want it. So yes. The other knitted thing that I want to talk about is not an active whip, but I did share it last time and I was kind of talking through it last time, so I wanted to follow up on my thoughts on it, and it is the Selma sleep suit. There has been no progress on this. It is in the exact same state that it was the last time I talked to you guys about it, but I was going through my stash because we want a stash bust, and I found these two skeins right here. This is 100% wool that I naturally dyed with onion skins last year, and I just have never got around to using it for anything. And I was wondering, because we were talking about doing a contrast edge in another color, because the problem that I have here is that I ran out of yarn and I need to finish this somehow. And this is a very interesting color. It's like an off-white, vanilla, kind of yellow in some places, cream yarn. And I don't have any more left of it. And I've gotten to like an awkward place where it's not quite long enough to finish up as a jacket. So I would need more yarn. I just can't get around it, because I can't take but so much from the sleeves to add it to the body. And I wouldn't have enough to cast off anyway. So we were shooting around ideas. Some said navy, some said, like another grayish tone. But then we were talking about some caramel, brownish tones. And then I saw these in my stash and I was like, hey, that might actually work. This is very, very rustic. And I don't know if the weight is the same. But anyway, I was going to kind of go down a needle size for the edge to kind of, I don't know, try something. And so I'm thinking that this might work. So let me know what you guys think. I'm thinking it's worth a shot at the very least, and then I don't have to go out and buy another skein, because I was looking for other skeins at Lea Mundas, the local yarn store that I absolutely love, and I just didn't see anything that could really work out with this. So, and I'm very hesitant to buy online just because sometimes you can't really return it. And if you do have to return it, you have to pay for shipping. So then it would just be more of a hassle. And anytime you buy stuff online, I've been burned in the past. It doesn't always look the way you think it will. So I'm going to give this a shot. Tell me which one you like better. I'm kind of leaning towards the lighter color. We'll see. But yeah, this was dyed using onion skins. And I'll leave a link to that video in case you're interested to see how I did it. It was a lot of fun to do. Definitely recommend doing some kind of natural dyeing project if you're at all interested and if you eat a lot of onions like me and my Romanian husband, then definitely. Otherwise, I've done it with avocado as well. That's been a lot of fun and worked out really, really nicely. And you can do all kinds of different things. So definitely recommend that as a fun weekend project. So hopefully next time I will have a finale to this saga. But, we're taking it one step at a time. So the last whip that I have to show you is not a knitted whip. It is a sewing project that I talked about in the giraffe video. And it's a quilt. It's a baby quilt, you guys. Okay, so I have been going back and forth about it. I told you guys plans about potentially doing a knitted quilted item because I really love the look of quilts. But I've never done a quilt before. Obviously, I consider myself a newbie to sewing, so I wasn't really sure if I was ready for what I thought to be a very complex project. There's a lot involved in quilting that I found out, so rightly so. My hesitation was warranted. I think it is a big project, but I decided, you know what? No time like the present. Let's just do it. I want to make a quilt. Let's make a quilt. We can make it happen. And so I just jumped into it. And I got some great progress to show you guys. Check that out. Obviously, I can't show you the full thing because I'm seated right now, but I will insert some B-roll so you can see the full quilt top in all of its glory. That should be good enough for now. But yeah, this is a finished quilt top that I'm very excited about. This is great. This is the Campfire Glow quilt by Then Came June, which is an account that I found over on Instagram. And I really love this quilt because it had some simple blocks like this 9 square block right here, and then something a little bit more complex like this star block. And it wasn't too difficult. I have to say, the most difficult thing for me was the cutting. The cutting was not fun. I have to say that was my least favorite part. And also, I was maybe taking this project a little too seriously. And I was kind of fretting over the color combinations more than I should have. So I bought so much more fabric than I actually needed for this project because I really just couldn't decide what was going to look good together. And I'm really happy with how it looks right now because I wanted something that was kind of not too contrasting in terms of the 2 different 9 blocks that are there. So this one has some light blue and green, and this one has blues and tan. And I thought that they mixed kind of nicely together, but they were different enough so that you would have that alternating effect that's in the pattern, that's really shown off in the pattern. And then for the star blocks, I took the same fabric in some areas and added that together. And I was really excited about this terracotta red. It's kind of showing up more deeper red on camera. This one, as a pop of color, I was very excited to add in. And then as a last minute, because I had bought so much extra fabric, I was like, okay, I want another contrast. And then I decided to do the dark blue as well. And I think it all really works nicely together. This might be my favorite right here. But yeah, it gives me Americana vibes. Is that the right term? I don't know, kind of like country, American country feeling. And that's a really, I don't know, it feels kind of cozy to me, this look right here. So I'm very excited to get started with the actual quilting piece. What I'm going to be doing is hand quilting it. So it's going to be a little bit longer of a process than I guess I would with the machine. But I want to do the hand quilting because I'm just not so sure about myself with the machine and how steady I will be and how even it would be. And with all those layers as well, I feel like it's just good for me to do something a little bit slower. And I also really enjoy the way the hand quilting looks, like the thread that's used. It's a little bit more spaced out. It looks a little bit more rustic. So, and obviously handmade, which is a look that I really love to emphasize. So yeah, I'm very happy with how this is going. And yeah, if you have any quilting tips, definitely let me know. You guys were already very, very helpful when I shared that I was going to be doing a quilt. So I'm very thankful for that. And from here, I have flannel for the batting, and then the backing, I'm just doing a tan like this. I don't know. I was really wondering, like, what should I do? Should I make it really contrasting? Should I do, I don't know, something more interesting than tan? But then I just went for something neutral because I don't know. I didn't want to overthink it, because I really am overthinking it in some ways, because I want the quilt to be casually, yeah, just like, you know how like you mix and match patterns and it looks like really haphazard, but it all comes together really nicely. I was trying to do that intentionally, which kind of defeats the purpose, because you're supposed to like just go with the flow. But for some reason, I was standing in the way of that. So that's why I went for all like solid colors, because I was just worried, like, will all of my prints clash with one another? What's going to happen? And then I ended up doing the same thing, like overthinking the color choices. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I think the result turned out really, really nicely. And I really love the way it looks in person. On camera, I also like the way it looks. I just think that it's coming across a little bit more deeper than it is these light colors. Like, this definitely is a lot lighter in person than it is picking up on camera. So to be continued on that one. I'm very excited about this. It would be really nice to have a little quilt that we can both snuggle up in together during breastfeeding sessions. That would be so nice. And yeah, I've always wanted to do this, so I'm very happy that I'm going forward and giving it a try. It's definitely not perfect. My squares actually line up decently, but not everywhere. You know, some blocks are definitely not aligned like others, but I think for a first try, definitely okay. Like, I'm not gonna be mad about it. I think it's looking pretty good. So I'm happy about that. This is definitely addicting though. Like, I have ideas for other quilts. It's just like, come on, you didn't really enjoy the cutting out process. Don't think that you're going to be going through this again very, very soon, because we don't have that kind of time around here. So I'm trying to stop myself, but my pen board is growing at an exponential rate. So we'll see when the next time I do a quilt is, but I need to finish this one first. Like, I can't be doing that bad habit where you're like nearly done with a project and then you get so many ideas for other projects and then you just want to go and do those and then you abandon the project. So I'm really trying to make sure that doesn't happen with this because I'm very close to making that happen. Yes, that is the quilt. That is baby's quilt. Very excited and proud of myself for this one. So I was very excited to show you guys all of the projects that have been on my needles or just that I've been working on. I didn't realize while I was recording the last segments of the knitting podcast, I didn't have any sound, which is a shame because I had some more exciting things to show you. So I thought I'd pop over here and close this out properly because otherwise it would just end completely abruptly, which not the best viewing experience. and a little bit frustrating, but we're going to move on. That's fine. We're here now. So I just want to share one little acquisition that I have gotten recently. I'm not really trying to welcome too much yarn in my stash, so I'm being very choosy when I do so. But even still, I'm very, very excited about this because I'm a new member of Knit Crate, new affiliate member, and I received my first subscription box in the mail, so I wanted to share with you guys what I got. So if you're not actually familiar with Knit Crate, it's a subscription service for knitters and crocheters, fiber lovers. They each month have a theme, and you get sent in the mail a couple of skeins based on that theme, and it's kind of like a mystery box. So it's a nice way to enrich your stash with some new fiber and have a little bit of a surprise every month. And this month I was very, very surprised. So let me just show you guys what I got in my first box. I got these two beautiful skeins. This is Vita Lana Silhouette by Knit Crate, and it is 50% superwash merino and 50% tencel, and it has this really, really soft feel to it. Very, very luxurious. That was the first thing that kind of popped into my head when I saw these skeins and felt these skeins. I was like, wow, this is a really luxurious feeling fiber. And this color right here is the Misty Dawn colorway. It is a beautiful blush pink, which is not really my color scheme that I usually gravitate towards. This is definitely more pastel than something that I would personally choose for myself. But I'm really open to that, and I think that's kind of the beauty of Knit Crate. There are a couple of options each month based on the theme, and it's a surprise what kind or what colorway that you end up getting. And I think that's a really cool way to kind of get me personally out of my comfort zone when it comes to fibers and colors, and give fibers a try that I normally wouldn't pay any attention to or, invest in on my own. This is actually funny because this is a color that my husband always wants me to buy for myself, like clothing wise. Whenever he sees like a nice light pink sweater, he's like, oh, you would look really nice in that. And I'm always, would I? I don't know. And now I can knit something up for myself and really try it out. So I'm really excited, and maybe he might enjoy that as well. The thing that really pops into my head when I'm thinking about these skeins, like what I could knit up with them, is actually underwear. If you are on Instagram, you probably have heard of Naked Knit, and they do a lot of patterns for bras and bralettes. And I actually have one of their patterns. I purchased it a couple of months ago, and I wanted to give it a try, but something has stopped me, and that is the changes in my body specifically. With pregnancy, going through a lot of different changes in different areas of my body, especially in the chest area, I was thinking maybe I should hold off on that and knit that one up when I have a better idea of how my final form will be after baby's here. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to knit up with these skeins. I don't know if I'll need both, but definitely with the softness of this fiber and again, like the silky texture, I feel like it would serve really well as the everyday bra, which is the pattern that I have. I think it's really, really beautiful. And this blush color is actually really growing on me. And maybe it will be very suitable for my skin tone. Maybe it'll be a nice color, a nice change for me to give a try. So like I mentioned, for Knit Crate, they have the theme of each month, and this month was Sunscape. And you get these little card, and you can see all of the different options within Sunscape. So these are all the different colorways you could have potentially gotten in this crate. And since I'm in Belgium, I'm actually a month behind. So this was the crate for July. So I haven't received the August crate yet. And if you're subscribed, this is not what would have come in that crate. But if you aren't subscribed and you're interested in giving it a try, you can get a discount with the code that's linked in the description. And just so that you know, since I'm an affiliate member, I do get a small portion of any of the proceeds for signups. So it's a great way to support me if you wish, and also surprise yourself each month with some new skeins of yarn for your stash. Yeah, so that's basically it. Those were the two one acquisition that I had this month. Like I said, I'm not really welcoming too many things into my stash right now, trying to use up as much as I can before baby is here. I do have some ideas for fall projects, and I will be sourcing yarn for those projects, but we're just not there yet. And that means that we'll have acquisitions to share at a later date. But for now, that's about it. So I'm going to leave you guys here. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and spending some time with me while I tell you about what's going on my needles, what kind of other projects that I have. I'm really excited to get that quilt done and, finish up some of those sweaters that I have on the needles, and then keep going with more cast-ons. But I hope whatever it is that you're working on is going very well, nice and smoothly, no issues there. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like. I would really appreciate it. It definitely helps me out. And if you want to stick around, you can subscribe. That way you'll know whenever I upload another one of these knitting podcasts or any of the other kind of content that we post on this channel. So thank you guys so much for spending some time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!